Gather round everybody, because I'm about to let you inside the mind of an idiot. And that idiot is me. A while ago on the Watchfinder YouTube channel, I spoke about how we had to change the way we presented our videos because YouTube had changed the way it shared them with people. But turns out that's not quite right. Yes, YouTube is doing funky things with shorts to compete with TikTok, and yes, YouTube needs you to think harder and harder about how you communicate with your audience, but that's all peanuts compared to what's really happening. The truth of the matter is that many years ago there weren't too many channels out there talking about watches. Since then that's changed dramatically, especially since lockdown, when many a watch owner and enthusiast found themselves in furlough looking for something to do. You can imagine that my reaction to all this new competition was frustration. Not only was I fighting for the time and attention of an audience distracted by matters far more important than watches, I was now sharing that fight with a whole bunch of newbies too. Some of them, such as Nico were not only taking views from the channel, they were getting more. Lots more. I'll be very honest, I found that extremely hard. I'd worked for years to build an audience of people who were willing to sit down and spend 10 minutes hearing a story about a mechanical wristwatch. Now, I'm generally a pretty quiet guy. I'm the one that smiles and nods and generally wishes I was at home instead. Nico was something else. He was loud, he was in your face, and he was a sledgehammer blow to everything I thought watch content should be. Couple this with the fact that it was getting harder and harder to get those views on our videos, and you can see something of a pattern forming. Every week that went by, every inch lost, every view down, and I found myself spiraling into despair. Losing out on hitting the 1 million subscriber mark first was, again, from the heart, a devastating blow. You would think then that there would be no person on the planet that I would dislike more than Mr. Nico van der Horst. There's plenty of reasons to. He's the complete opposite of who I am. He's beaten me to the goal I'd set myself, and he thinks Grand Seiko is meh. That last point in itself is reason for public flogging. But I want to tell you something. In the middle of all that fretting and concern, when I was panicking and worrying about the channel going down the toilet, there was one person out there who reached out to lend a hand. Guess who that might have been? Nico not only graciously helped me understand more about the intrinsic functionality of YouTube, he supported it directly and continues to support me and this channel too. He has never once asked for money and shies away from any conversation about it. I honestly couldn't tell you of a nicer, more generous person in this game. It's a great crowd and everyone's really friendly, but Nico has always gone that step further. Perhaps you remember me talking about Rolex and how it's changed the way we need to work on YouTube. Really, looking back, it's always been like that. The titles and whatnot for the channel have always needed to have some bite to them to attract attention from amongst the billions of other videos on YouTube. And people have since suggested that Nico's assistance has changed the way we do our titles. Well, that's not the case at all. Nico has been instrumental in helping me understand more about why people watch videos and why they don't, but a lot of that knowledge hasn't really been about extracting more performance from the Watchfinder videos. What Nico did for me was to kick my butt into gear to make this channel. He berated me and hounded me into understanding the value of myself as a person, to give me the courage and confidence to share my voice as Andrew Morgan. You might wonder why I started a separate channel to Watchfinder, and no, it's not replacing that channel. It's so I get to speak my mind about topics that are near and dear to my heart that would probably be too boring for the Watchfinder channel, a bit like this one you're watching right now. So I was wrong about YouTube. It's more or less the same. The views have settled to more or less the same as well. Nico's shared some great advice on how we can continue to grow without tampering the videos people, himself included, know and love. But what I was really wrong about was Nico himself. Yeah, he's loud. Yeah, he's abrasive. But he's got a heart of gold, and I couldn't think of anyone I'd sooner turn to if I needed help, and he'd always be there to give it. It's been a hard few years for all of us, and for me personally with the YouTube channel, but it would have been a whole lot harder without Nico's help. He's given me a new enthusiasm for watches and watch content, and not just me. He's done the same for millions of others too.